Often bigot anti-Islamist and Christian missionaries claim that Quran is full of scientific error. As for evidence, they cite verse 29 of chapter 2 of Quran.
He, it is, who created for you all that is on earth. Then, he raised over the heaven, fashioned 7 heavens. And he is knowing of all things.
Anti-Islamist and Christian missionaries allege, according to this verse of the Quran, the God of Quran is claiming to create the earth before heaven or space, which is a scientific error. Anti-Islamist and Christian missionaries try to prove their allegation by citing exegesis of this verse written by Ibn Kathir, one of the earliest Islamic author of exegesis, tafsir. Let's take a close look at the verse to understand what the God is saying in this verse 29 of chapter 2. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. He it is who created for you all that is on earth. Summa, moreover, then, simultaneous. Istawa, ascended, rose, directed, turned, or established. Ila, to, on, or over. As-samai, the heaven or space. Fasawahunna, fashioned, proportioned. Saba'a, 7 or several. Samawatin, heavens or space. Wahuwa bikulli shay'in alim, and he is knowing of all things. After taking a close look at this verse, we realize nowhere in this verse the God is stating that he is creating or originating earth or heaven, or he has first created earth, then originated heaven. In this verse, the God is simply informing us that he has created all things in and on earth for us. He is above the heavens, and he has proportioned the heavens. The God does claim to originate heavens and earth in this same chapter 2 of Quran, but in a different verse, which is verse 117. Originator of the heavens and the earth, and when he decrees a matter, he only says to it, be, and it becomes. For anti-Islamist and Christian missionaries who have a problem with verse 29, because the God mentioned earth before heaven, in this verse 117, the God has mentioned heavens before earth. Contrary to the Bible, the God did not at all inform or specify the chronology of creations in the Quran. Even in verse 117 of chapter 2 of Quran, the God is simply stating that he is the originator of the heavens and the earth, and when he intends a matter, he just intends and it happens. In case of verse 29 of chapter 2, anti-Islamist and Christian missionaries cite 13th century Christian-era scholar Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir in his exegesis had compared the creation of all things on earth for us and fashioning of the heavens with a construction building, where lower floors representing earth was created first, before the top floors representing heavens. This is an example given by Ibn Kathir, not divine inspiration. Anti-Islamist and Christian missionaries who cites exegesis written by scholars of early generations, like Ibn Kathir, Tabari, Jalalain, etc., to prove that Quran have error, are very obstinate to the fact that scholars set examples and wrote exegesis out of their own limited knowledge and wisdom. Exegesis written by scholars are not divine. Examples given by scholars are not divine. Examples given by scholars are sometimes correct, but other times may not be correct. Yes, sometimes examples may help to understand a verse. A correct example will help to understand the proper meaning of that verse, but an incorrect example may cause misunderstanding of that verse. Examples given by scholar are not divine, but work of human being, therefore may contain some error or fallacy. Divine revelations of Quran have to be understood in its actual meanings. In the verse 29 of chapter 2 of Quran, the God has literally informed about 4 matters. 1. He it is who created for you all that is on earth. The first part of this verse is very plain and simple. The God is informing us that the God has created all things on earth for us. 2. Simultaneously established over heavens. In the second part of this verse, the God is informing us that He is not in or on earth or in heavens, but He is always above the earth, the heavens, and all creations. 3. Fashioned, proportioned several heavens. In the third part of this verse, the God is informing us that it is the God who has fashioned, proportioned heavens and space. If we relate the first and second part of this verse with this third part of this verse, we understand that the God is the creator of all things. All that exists are creations of the God, and He is above His creation, not part of His creation. 4. He is knowing of all things. In the fourth and last part of this verse, the God is informing us He is all-knowledgeable, all-knowing. According to Quran, verse 85 of chapter 17, the God has created human beings with very limited acquirability of knowledge and comprehension. Therefore, the God communicates with human being in finite terms so that we can understand. The God informed us in the Quran, chapter 27, verse 65, that there are many matters of ghaib unseen, and no one can know or comprehend them except the God. The God informed us in chapter 50, verse 16, that He knows our innermost self-whispers, and He is closer than our jugular vein. As human beings, we may never comprehend or understand how can someone know or hear our inner self-whisper, but as Muslims, we believe that the God does hear and know every thought of our heart and mind. Similarly, we may not understand how can the God who is not part of His creation, who is not in the creation, but above the creation, be closer to us than our jugular vein. But as Muslims, we believe that the God is closer to us than our jugular vein. Like, share, and subscribe to create awareness. We are also available on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and Paltalk.